Today, over a few beers in the shed, we're putting our heads together to give you our best tips and tricks to make the most out of your four-wheel drive during the COVID period. We're going to uncover some of Australia's toughest rigs, and we're going to serve up another hilarious bunch of four-wheel drive fails.
Well, cheers guys, I've just cracked a cold one. I'm down in the shed having a beer, of course. It means one thing and one thing only, beers in the shed. Absolutely pumped though, because Australia Day weekend is just around the corner. And Graham, you there, mate? Because I've got Graham on the line.
Hey, how are you, buddy? Good to hear from you.
There he is. Cheers, buddy. I'm having a quick beer in the shed. I know you are too, mate.
Cheers, mate. Cheers. Yeah, speaking of sick things, how are you doing? You good?
I'm good, mate. Look, Queensland is the healthy state. I think that's actually on our Queensland flag, mate. I think they've updated the flag. But look, there's been a lot of different restrictions, I suppose. We've had our hurdles, certainly with filming, but look, a lot of positives come out of it. Look, Beers in the Shed was actually born because of COVID. And look, a lot of people have enjoyed Beers in the Shed. We've given away a lot of prizes over that time, mate. And if anything, mate, this is an excuse to come down to your shed, crack a cold one, and just pretend you're working down in the shed, you know what I mean? So
I don't know about you, but I've never really needed too many excuses to come down the shed and crack a cold beer. But you're right. If you say to someone, listen, I'm just going down the beers in the shed, you get away with it. If you just say I'm going down the shed to drink beers on my own, bit weird, mate. A little bit weird.
Both very similar though, and it happens quite frequently for me, mate.
It does. Look, before we get stuck into it, have you heard about Luke, mate? Have you touched base with young Luke from last episode of Beers in the Shed?
He got his snatch gear. We sent down to him, mate, and he's absolutely stoked, like a dog with two tails.
He is. I mean, Luke's the bloke who he's done it tough a little bit over the last 12 months or so. Not only with COVID sort of, playing havoc as it's done, but his dad passed away with cancer. His mum's just got over breast cancer. Luke stepped up as the man of the house. He's been doing a heap of chores around the house, really looking after his mum, just being a bloke, being a good Aussie bloke. And so, we
being a man, really,
Yeah, being a man, yeah. And you shouldn't really have to be a man at that age, but Luke's done it.
I know. We sent him a little snatch goodies package, and it's only a tiny little thing, but he was absolutely stoked, mate. And one of the things I really like about Luke, mate, he does enjoy the cooking scenes. He's got taste, what can I say? So Luke, mate,
not
cheers, mate. We're having a beer
cool,
for you in the shed right now, mate. And I'm glad that you do like your snatch gear. I reckon, mate, we just dive straight into our hot topic, and that is how COVID has changed four-wheel driving and camping.
Well, mate, it has been a pretty tough year across the board for a lot of Australians during this COVID period. And I think what we're going to try and do is just answer a few questions that you folks have put to us via social media about the challenges you've faced, and see if we can't collectively, mate, just come up with a few ideas moving forward. What can we do just to get back out there, mate?
The one thing it's a big positive out of all of this is while we can't travel overseas, I mean, it's encouraged a lot of Australians to explore Australia, their own backyard.
That's right.
I think that's a really big positive thing. And the four-wheel drive space has absolutely exploded because more people are getting into a four-wheel drive, getting into a caravan, a camper trailer, and seeing Australia where they can. It might even be in their own backyard because they can't even, go outside their state, but they're getting forced to explore their own backyard. And I think that's pretty cool, man.
I reckon that's one of the first things someone's come up with there, mate. We put that question out there, and of course, more people are getting into four-wheel driving and travelling around Australia. And one problem that's kind of posing and out exploring has raised this point. He said that overcrowded campsites and campsite operators cramming people in like sardines. And true. Look, you couldn't
be more truthful, mate. Like some of the local spots up near us, like Double Island Point, they're busy on any good weekend, especially in southeast Queensland. But at the moment, they've actually restricted the amount of campsites. And of course, more people than ever want to get out and explore these campsites. So there's like a 3-month wait. And of course, every single weekend is super, super busy up there. Yeah, it's crazy. I absolutely get where out exploring is getting from, mate. He's like, how do I find, a little bit of peace and quiet for myself now?
Yeah, look, look, at this time of year especially, mate, the Christmas, New Year period, Australia Day period, there's people out and about always on a good year. Have a COVID year like we've had, and it's just really amplified that. And I think one thing I've got to say, everyone's making some sort of changes to the way they do things at the moment because of COVID, and I think perhaps camping is one of those things you're going to have to make a bit of a change to. You're not going to like it, but maybe you're just going to have to suck it up and make a bit of a change to the way you camp. And what I mean by that, you just use DI as a bit of an example. If you normally go to DI at this time of year, don't, because it's going to be absolutely off the charts. Maybe do some research and head inland, because Australia, as we know, mate, is a pretty big place. And let me say, there's going to be a lot of spots out there that are not crowded.
think outside the square a little bit. And I think a lot of people, they're really looking for those close to home solutions. I suggest, spend an extra couple of hours in the four-wheel drive on the blacktop and get a little bit further afield, because you guarantee, mate, we were up in Bundaberg recently and, we had the whole place to ourselves.
Absolutely.
And I reckon another hot tip as well, now you're going to love this one, is pull a couple of sickies. Now, I'm not joking. Pull a couple of sickies. Go midweek if you can.
Yeah, mate.
So many people have got holiday leave. They've got, annual leave up their sleeve. They've got RDOs. All that. Use that stuff in the week. Don't go in school holiday periods, and use that time to explore, beaches and those sort of popular places, because during the week there's no crowds at all, but come the weekend, oh my goodness, they're absolutely packed.
Mate, I got Ron here. Ron said border restrictions. This is a really tough one.
Use it as a positive. Like, explore your own backyard. I mean, so many people, like myself included, I get very excited about going to Cape York or the Kimberley or the Simpson Desert, but use it as a time to explore those local campsites. Like, what do you have, within 4-hour radius of your house? For me, there's a stack of spots I haven't even explored that are right in my backyard, mate. And over the COVID period, I've actually done a lot of that, just travelling around just locally, finding cool little pubs and little places that are right, I've got some like little pubs I never knew about that are about an hour's drive that have camping out the back. Would never have known they existed unless COVID was there, mate.
Mate, the other day, just a couple of days ago, I literally camped 35 minutes from my house. If I'd forgotten my underpants, I could have come back and got them. But I was literally half in it.
You just got to think outside the square a little bit. I think that's the key. Yep. Here's another one from Mark, and he's worried about the prices of everything. It's just gone up, and we laugh about it and call it a COVID tax. Exactly right, mate. COVID tax, but it's a real thing. Look, I'm a bit out of touch with some of the vehicles in the second-hand market at the moment, because they're just skyrocketing in value just so much. What you could buy for 10 grand, early last year is nearly worth $20,000 this year. I think that's just absolutely absurd.
One way around that, mate, we've talked about this in the past, is instead of going for maybe your dream rig at the moment that's a bit more mainstream, your Hiluxs, even your higher-end Toyotas, etc., maybe look at some of the more bargain models that we've talked about on previous episodes of Beers in the Shed. I mean, take a look at some old Pajeros that are kicking around. They'll go anywhere in Australia, mate, those old Pajeros. And because of what they are, they're not really attracting that COVID tax. So you can still get yourself into a vehicle if that's what you're looking at.
I think a lot of new people are getting into the four-wheel drive space. So that means that they're going to be looking at they're going to be typing in what four-wheel drive should I buy into Google. It's going to come up with like a Hilux, a Nissan, a Toyota. Those are the main ones. They're going to try and buy those because that's all they know. So of course there's going to be a lot more popularity on those vehicles now, more than ever. So looking further afield is probably a good idea. But also, I mean, I think people are trying it on as well. So when you've got your hard-earned dollars, you go into someone's house and look at a second-hand car. Don't let them spring that on you. You know what it's worth. Just go in there and offer him something he can't refuse, mate. And hopefully you can talk a bit of sense into him, mate. Just keep searching around. A lot of people these days, I find, don't go and look at 10 different vehicles. They get the first one they see. I reckon just hold on tight. It might take you 3 months, but you'll get that bargain. There's still bargains to be found, mate. Our mate Jesse.
Oh, yeah. Yeah.
Jesse finds a bargain every day of the week. He's in terms of patrol parts, mate. He's on Marketplace all the time. He's just got his sources, mate. Facebook is a great one. There's heaps of bargains out there, and you just got to be, just ready to go. Once you've got your penny saved up, just be ready to go. Look at a vehicle midweek. Don't wait till the weekend when there's 50 other people trying to look at it. Get in early. Ring the guy and put a deposit on, and just say, "Yep, I'm going to come and look at it." Just be the first person in line to get that vehicle.
Don't let it stop you. That's the key. That is the absolute key, mate.
That's exactly right.
Moving on, which I think is also this next sort of point here, I think is tied in with that COVID tax and why things are probably a little bit more expensive than they should be at the moment. 99XJ Jeep has said that it makes it even harder because getting parts from the US is difficult. So getting repairs done is super hard. I've actually faced this myself over here in WA. The difficulty of getting stock in, I think that's what's having a big impact on the scene as a whole, mate. People trying to get things done to their four-wheel drives, getting parts for their four-wheel drives. And what that has done, of course, drive prices up, we're talking about that, but it's also meant a lot of blokes like me that have got the mechanical aptitude of a monkey are getting in the shed, mate, and giving it a go themselves because perhaps they've got, an old broken bit that they can put on here or they can, make that work over there because they're not getting the parts in.
Yeah, exactly right, mate. I've got a couple of mates who were waiting on parts from the US and it took them, no joke, 7 months. Something they ordered in like April last year they got 7 months later.
And of course, we're talking about jumping on places like Facebook Marketplace, like Gumtree, like all those kind of things. Why not jump on there and have a look at secondhand winches? And then when you get that winch home, put a day aside, pull it apart, make sure everything's okay. Not only then have you got yourself a bargain because you bought that winch secondhand, you've pulled it apart, made sure everything's okay, and now you know how that winch works. So you can service it yourself moving down the track.
Yeah.
So you've saved yourself money across the board.
I suggest you don't pull any winches apart anytime soon, mate, because they'll never go back together.
Mate, I've always found there's certain cogs in winches that just aren't needed. Just throw them out. You only need a couple in there, mate. You don't bother putting them all back in.
You've got more parts left over than what you began with. It's never a good sign,
It's bad in
mate.
a winch. We've got Brett here, mate. He's jumped in. He bought a 4x4 because his yearly overseas adventure was off the table. Trouble is, he got so into the four-wheel driving lifestyle, as people do, that he got totally lost watching 100 hours of four-wheel drive 24/7. So now suddenly, we're the problem.
It can happen, mate. It can happen like that. But that's the thing. Like Brett's bought a four-wheel drive. You know, first time he's probably bought a four-wheel drive because overseas holidays are no go at the moment. There's so many people in that boat, and I guess that is driving the price of these second-hand four-wheel drives up. So this is also, it poses another thing, mate. If you've been iron about selling your pride and joy, yes, you will make probably a pretty penny on it, but the next four-wheel drive you go to buy is going to be very expensive as well. So it's all kind of relative. If you can get the one you've got working even better, now's the time to probably sit on your vehicle and just, throw some maintenance at it, get it really tidy, make it drive really well. And you're probably sitting, if it's an 80 series, mate, you'll be sitting on an absolute goldmine. It's been a tough year for a lot of people, mate, but there's been a stack of positive come out of it as well. So hopefully we've been able to give you a few little tips there to make COVID life. And tell you what, it's been quite a journey, like half, bearable as well. Get the four-wheel drive, get out in the bushes, just celebrate getting out in the bush as much as you can. And speaking of positive things, mate, we are pretty famous for giving away prizes in the shed, mate. And my dog just hit its head on the table. I don't know if anyone saw that then. She's not going to get a prize for that move. But you guys might, because we're giving away some epic prizes. And, mate, this is one of our best yet.
Rightio, Shaun. Stuff it, I'm saying it. It's my favourite part of the show, mate. Four-wheel drive fails, where we get to see, what we do for a living, other people recreating in real life, mate. Yeah,
exactly right. Failing for a living, mate. We're pretty good at it. And it turns out a lot of you guys are as well. So I like this section as well, mate. You just get to see. This is the best thing about modern times, mate. Everyone's got a camera phone handy, so you can't get away with anything. You get bogged. Instead of rushing with a winch or something, he rushes over his phone to film you. And I love this. I love this.
Yeah, I think
you get to see some pretty epic fails.
Greatest thing since sliced bread. Now we get a lot of questions, people asking us, how do we get on four-wheel drive fails? Well, there's two parts to it. Firstly, fail. Part number one. Part number two, put that up on social media somewhere and use the hashtag 4WD247 fails. Now,
what can people win, mate, if they do that?
Mate, prizes. This week, because we've got Australia Day coming up very soon, we're going to give away one of these, mate, and I'm going to use my ample man boobs to show these off. The old Aussie-made Snatch Tee, mate. I love this design, I really do. In fact,
looks like you've had a good Christmas, mate.
Give that a pat. That's not a six-pack, mate. That's half a carton right there.
I'm joining you, mate. Don't worry about that.
These T-shirts are super comfy. I haven't taken mine off for days. I really should, because it's starting to stink. This is going to go out to the. You can't really say the best, the worst fail, the best fail, the best worst fail.
It's best worst fail. Yeah,
you know what I'm getting at, mate. Last episode, we had a couple of lads from the US of A get in touch with us. They were from Utah, and we wanted to find out a bit more info as to what the heck happened and how they got into this predicament. Turns out, the boys were doing a bit of exploring on a river in Utah, and they decided they couldn't do the river crossing. Water was going too fast, it was too deep.
Yeah.
Now, I don't know whether this is just an American thing or maybe it's an influenza thing, I'm not too sure, but they decided to nose the car in anyway so they could take a photo of it.
Take a photo, that's absolutely madness. And that led to what? The vehicle just washing down the river.
Well, literally, mate. Next minute, the vehicle gets picked up by the current, washes into the river, they're stuck there for 6 hours while they waited for another vehicle to get safely in a position to get them out. And the end result is the vehicle was an absolute write-off. But what I love the most, check out the video of the water coming out the exhaust pipe, mate.
Oh, my goodness. I'll tell you
looks
what,
like a mate of mine on New Year's Eve, that does.
Definitely one of the stupidest things I've ever done.
Me too.
Speaking of Instagram photos that are worthwhile, mate, I thought we'd throw one in here especially for you. This is Matthew, mate.
I didn't see that, mate. Oh, I didn't know the beer, that's for sure.
This is how much
bet
he loves his rig, mate.
I bet you found that one, didn't you, mate? I bet you found that one and requested that to be in there.
No, mate,
one of your
not
mates
me,
for sure.
Not me at all. He's got pink undies too. I'm a little bit concerned about him. Anyway, that's apparently what you got to do these days on the old social medias.
Sex sells, and so does the old. Is that a Ford Courier?
Goodness me, he's tearing all the right places. Can we move on from that? I don't want to.
Very hard to see the type of model of vehicle because there's a lot going on in that photo.
Now, we're going from one full moon to another one. I'm getting straight away from that one, mate. We're going from one full moon, we're going to Moon Rock. Now, you've driven this, I've driven this one. Yep. And it really is a bit of a doozy of an obstacle. This bloke's had a crack at it, Joshua. It is very committing. He's had a crack. He's had a crack at it in short wheelbase, and it almost goes horribly pear-shaped, mate.
Yeah,
I reckon he wouldn't be showing his undies today. That's for sure.
No, but you got to give it to him, mate. In a short wheelbase vehicle, trying to do Moon Rock, that's
very ballsy.
Big, yeah, exactly. I was just doing the old. That's what I meant by that.
That's it. Now, Cameron here. Cameron is what we'll say is all show and no go, mate.
Have a go with that.
He's just decided to go in at 1,000,000 miles an hour, and I don't think he's even made it a vehicle length.
I've got to say now, I'm going to point out the dead set obvious here, mate.
Go for it.
Little tip: when you're trying to drive bog holes, don't drive like Cameron. Nothing good happens when you drive like Cameron. You drive really fast. You're probably going to get stuck like he has. More chances, though, you're going to put that fan through the radiator and you're going to be on a tow truck. So, yeah.
However, okay, Mr. Sensible over there. But is that going to end up on four-wheel drive fails? No, it's not. So I'm all for it. Go for it, Cameron. Harder next time, mate.
Yeah, a bit harder, and you might have won yourself a T-shirt. Far out, mate.
I like it. We got Matt here. Matt's done himself a mischief. He's got himself all hung up on this branch. You couldn't do that if you tried, to be honest. He's got the branch is fully wedged under the front, tie-down point. It's stuck between that and the pitman arm. It's also stuck on top of the tyre. He doesn't have a saw with him, so he went all MacGyver on it. He just hooked his winch up to it and kept going in until it snapped. Now, mate, have a go at this bloke here. They call themselves, I think they're called green laners. I was about to call them something completely different, which they're not. This chap's had a real bit of mischief happen here. I don't know what's gone on. You sort of suggest maybe it's a ball joint that's gone, or I reckon maybe a tie rod. Who knows? Tie rod,
his steering arm's bent. But I tell you what, it shouldn't be like that. And the best thing about it, like, listen to I'm presuming his wife or his girlfriend.
Your wheel is like that.
Giving a couple of instructions, and I know what I'd be like as well. If my missus was standing up the front trying to tell me like something's wrong, I'd be like, just look, I've done this 1,000,000 times. I'm going to drive it.
I know what I'm doing.
That's what he's doing.
She's very polite about it too.
I know, she's not stressed. That's
that good old English stiff upper lip. I like it. Now, I haven't wheeled in the US of A, so I shouldn't pass comment, but maybe this is how you cross rivers in the US. Who knows? I
want to go. It's as simple as that. Look at this.
Yeah, if that's what you're doing, I want to have a crack at it. That looks super fun. It looks pretty darn gnarly. Now, look, we've got to have a winner. There has to be a winner to the fails.
There has to be. It has to be. I'll do the drum roll, mate.
I like that drum roll. That's very good. So you're going to win yourself an Aussie Snatch tee, not this one, because, well, it stinks.
Yeah,
you know, this one, you're going to get a brand new one. This is going to go to Will, because Will got his undies wet. Have a look at that, mate.
How you going, Willie?
Not too bad, mate. Tickle.
Oh, my goodness.
They're all in their undies, actually. It's kind of strange. Where are they from? Can you see their number plate? I can't. It's underwater.
That is insane.
Yeah, that is next level fail. And, mate, next time you're in your undies, maybe keep a T-shirt on. Doesn't look quite so weird when all your mates just hanging around in underpants. No problem with it. I've got no problem with it. But how do you become a failure? Very simple.
Yeah.
Like I said, got to fail first. Secondly, of course, use the hashtag 4WD247 fails. Upload it to a social media platform of your choice. We will find it. And who knows? Maybe you could be the star of your own fail.
Mate, I've just come up with a really good idea. And a little tip for you guys trying to get onto four-wheel drive fails. Capture your mate failing. That is the best bit of advice. I just thought of it then. Capture him, then post it, use the hashtag, you win the prize, and your mate fails. It's a win-win.
You should run for Parliament. That's brilliant.
That's exactly why I'm going to start filming you more often, mate. Well, now is one of my favourite parts of Beers in the Shed. It's show us your rig. I love to see your rigs, folks, and we always get some pretty cool ones coming in here. And this week of Beers in the Shed, we've got some really special prize. You see, we've teamed up with the guys over at Casio. Now, Casio make G-Shock watches some of the world's toughest watches. I've been running one for a while now. Mine is going absolutely insane. These things are supposed to be absolutely bush-proof, mate, and I'm putting it to the test. And now a couple of lucky winners can do the exact same thing, mate, because 2 people are going to be picked from this segment right here to win their very own Casio G-Shock watch. So I'll give you a little bit of the information behind the vehicles that we've picked. We're looking for the best, the toughest rigs, not just the sort of shiny mall crawlers, you know, those ones that have all the accessories on it, but they would never go out in bush because they're so scared they're going to get scratched. Let me tell you now, the vehicles we've chosen couldn't be any different from those show ponies, mate. These are the real deal.
There's so many here that have got scratches on dents.
Yeah, that's what I like about it. These are real trucks designed to get out in the bush. So if you've got an old four-wheel driver, a new one, but you use it a hell of a lot, this is where you could win.
I'm just looking over to my left here, mate, and I reckon old Shorty over there, I'm going to enter it.
Absolute mall crawler.
Goodness gracious. Is it the moment?
It's looking pretty shiny, old Shorty. You do take good care of it, though.
I do, mate, I do. I rub it, well, I can't say that. I really do polish it. I look after it, yes.
Speaking of someone who does the exact opposite with their vehicle, Alex Ringsing. He's had 4 accidents. 3 of them have been statutory write-offs. He's done 400,000 kilometres, 2 engine rebuilds, and he reckons it's still tougher than a Triton. I don't know about that, Alex. It's just a solid old rig, isn't it? He's obviously uses it. He's done 400,000 Ks in it.
I'd be having a good look at your driving, Alex, personally, mate. If you 4 accidents, 3 of which are statutory write-offs. Goodness gracious, mate.
I think maybe you should just catch the bus. Look, trade it in, get a bunch of bus tickets, and just stay on the bus. It sounds like you're a menace out there, mate. But look.
Speaking of menaces.
Look, Bradley has the old silver top. Now, I can talk the terminology, mate, because I've got a GQ sitting. Yeah, it's not parked anywhere near my good four-wheel drive, just down the back at the moment. But look, Bradley's got the old silver top with 500,000 Ks on it. He's got an old eBay turbo.
Yep.
He's got bogged. He's filled it full of water. He's done just about everything you could possibly do to this vehicle, and he still reckons he'd take it around Australia tomorrow. And I sort of get you, Bradley. Look, I've got one of the roughest GQs in Australia. I'm pretty proud to say it. And I don't know if I'd take it around Australia tomorrow, but if I was done the Glasshouse Mountains, that thing would absolutely thrive. And you guys have seen it. You know how good that thing goes.
TD life, mate. Yep, moving on. Oh,
this one,
goodness,
mate.
Look at that thing.
I don't even know what this is. Luckily, it's in the description here, mate. This is a 4Runner, believe it or not. It's a comp spec 84 4Runner rock crawler, left-hand drive, a 22 RE, twin transfers, reduction gears. He's got 40-inch tyres on that thing, external roll cage, 4-link. Mate, it's an absolute weapon, that thing, and obviously it's a comp truck. It reminds me a lot of the Dirty 30 here, just a stupidly capable vehicle.
This wild rock crawling machine was originally built in California as a trail rig for taking on Moab. It was imported to Oz and brought by Phil. The red truck features 4.7 crawler gears, a hydro steer front end, chromoly axles and CVs. It's got a 3-link front coilover, 4-link double triangulated rear coils, rear disc brake conversion, lockers, and of course, a full roll cage.
Speaking of beasts, mate, even Graham, you can appreciate this one, mate. Have a look at this.
Have a look at that. That thing, to me, that's four-wheel driving history right there. It's royalty.
That is, mate. It is. That is an absolute beast. A troopy. It's on over 1.5 million kilometres. That is absolutely insane. You can tell Mark loves this thing as well. It's never let him down. He's got a rear locker and it's some pretty basic mods, just a 2-inch lift. You don't really need that many mods for these old trucks, and it just gets the job done.
Mark's FJ45 is aptly named the Mistress, as his partner reckons he spends more time with the ageing troopy than with her. After binge-watching 4-wheel drive 24/7, Mark's missus has caught the bug and now joins Mark on regular adventures in the troopy as they push on towards the next 1,000,000 K mark. 1.5 million, that's a lot of mileage.
That's a hell of a lot of miles, mate, and it goes to show some of those old rigs, mate, you don't need to do much to them, but they'll get the job done. And look, Mark, you've just won yourself a Casio G-Shock watch. These are an awesome watch, mate, and I'd say just about as tough as that old troopy of yours, I reckon. So we've got one more prize to give away, and that prize will go to Cassidy King. Have a go at this Hilux, mate.
Talk about driving. Goodness.
Oh,
sometimes he's even got some photos here where he's on his wheels. Not many, but some
of them
photos
he's on his wheels. Most of them. Wow. If you've ever wanted to see the underside of a Hilux, just hang out with Cassidy for a little bit, because I guarantee going away for a weekend, you're going to see exactly how the suspension works from underneath the vehicle.
Cassidy's rig might look used and abused, but it's been built to take on the toughest tracks going, and is the first car up any track Cassidy and his mates come across. The rear's been welded and there's e-lockers up front with widened wheel track, pushed front diff, high steer kit, 79 series leafs, U-bolt flip kit, chromoly CVs and custom bar work and sills. The Lux sits on 37s or 40s and also has an upgraded turbo and front mount intercooler with 3-inch piping.
I'd like to see Cassidy drive with Jock. I reckon those two could make quite the team. Take their Hiluxs out and go all Hilux nerd and stuff like that. But look, Cassidy, you'll be sporting a new G-Shock watch, mate. These are ultra tough. I reckon even with your style of driving, mate, you won't be able to break one of these watches.
No, but he'll know what time the tow truck's coming, and that's going to be very, very handy for him, I think.
Exactly right, mate. Exactly right. Look, keep using that hashtag Forward Drive 24/7 rigs, and we'll find your rig. And look, the ones we're really looking for are the ones that get used. So just keep that in mind. New or old, it doesn't matter. If you get out and use it properly for what it's built for, we want to see them. Well, now's the part of the show we want to hear from you guys. You guys have asked a few questions across our social media platforms. We're going to pick a whole bunch of them and answer them as truthfully as we can. A lot of these I haven't even seen, mate, so the first answer is usually the most truthful. All right, the first one here, mate, from Nugget. You know it's going to be a good question when it comes from Nugget. What are the future plans for Daryl? Well, you know, if you asked me that when I first had Daryl sitting in my shed, it was just taking up space. I wanted to get rid of that thing, but of course I've sort of fallen in love with it. My plans are some very, very basic mods on the slide. Jocko's been doing a fair bit of work with the Pony Lux. I want to maybe take Daryl over to Jesse's shed for a little bit, get him to put maybe a front locker in it or something like that, and just don't tell Jock. Next time we go for a wheel, see what happens.
Unstoppable.
Absolutely, mate. Well, this is a good question, mate. I'm new to off-roading. Which diff is more preferable to put lockers in, the front or the rear? What's your thoughts on that one, Graham?
Well, mate, I own a couple of Patrols here, and as you know, Patrols come out with pretty good LSDs in the rear, so you don't really need to beef those up. So you can go and put a front locker in there, and you'll have a pretty darn capable vehicle. But on the flip side of that, if you don't have an LSD in the rear, I've always been a bit of a fan of pushing a wheelbarrow. Yes, exactly. I've always been a bit of a fan of pushing a wheelbarrow rather than pulling it. So I quite like having the locker in the rear. Yeah,
okay. What about IFS vehicles, mate?
I think IFS, again, I'd put it in the rear because I don't know if I trust having lockers up the front. I don't know. I could be wrong about that. But I'm a rear man. I'm a rear man.
It seems this way, mate. Always choosing the rear. Look, I'd mix it up a little bit myself, but I think if you can only go for one, then I don't know. I'll leave that up to you. It really doesn't matter, front or rear, as long as you're getting the job done.
Can we move on to the next question, please, Shauno?
Yes, mate, absolutely.
What are our top 3 tracks of all times?
Oh, that's a good one. Very difficult to say on the fly, mate. So many awesome tracks around Australia. Look, I'll go first, mate. I think in terms of tough tracks, I'm going to go Commando Coffs Harbour. It's one of my favourites. I've got a lot of history with that track, and I enjoy driving. It scares the hell out of me, but when I get at the top, I feel like a superhero. So I'm going to choose that one. I'm going to choose. It's not really a track. It's Ningala Rocks, because I know once I've gone through Ningala Rocks and Fraser Island, I'm in paradise. Yeah, that's probably my second favourite one, and my third favourite one, mate, is the Carson River track up in the Kimberley, mate, because that is 2 weeks of absolute pure adventure, and I live for that sort of stuff, mate. And we're doing that this year, which I'm super excited about.
Fingers crossed. Fingers crossed. Mate, I'm going to jump in there with you and share that. I'm going to share the Carson River track with you, if that's okay, and put that as one of mine. I'm going to go Blue Rag. I love Blue Rag.
Blue Rag, epic.
You get to the top of that, and you can see for miles, mate. And then I'm going to say, I know I probably shouldn't say it. I don't want to get more people to do it because it really lives up to its name. But the $1,000 track, there's something about that track.
$1,000 track.
She's a gnarly one, mate. And when you get to that hut, and it's next level.
I think for me, at the time, sometimes it'd be very testing doing that track. But when you're having a beer at Waratah and using that bloke's gurney to clean your radiator out, you're just having an absolute ball, mate.
You're talking war stories.
Honourable mention to Monkey Gum as well. We just did that track recently. You guys get to see that episode soon.
Yep.
Every time I drive that track, super fun.
That's probably my favourite hard track, to be honest with you. I really enjoy driving Monkey Gum. Yep.
Yeah, it's technical, it's steep, it's got hard bits, and epic.
Mate, Zach only asked for 3. We're going nuts here. Let's move on.
Sorry, Zach. This one, mate, from Hamish. When will Shauno get another Sierra? He's itching to see a tough Zook on the channel again. Look, you're going to think I'm absolutely mad, Hamish, but I would love a Zook. And in particular, a long wheelbase Sierra, wide track model. They're really rare to find and people want extraordinary amounts of money for them. But mate, just keep looking at this channel because we've been talking about it internally now that we need a Suzuki Sierra to come into the lineup, mate. We had so much fun with a $1,000 Zook. My first four-wheel drive was a Zook. I'm going to get another one.
I think you
It's
should.
going to be a beast. Mate, you'll have to
Absolutely
come for another run with me, mate. If we get a long wheelbase, we could both tour Australia, I reckon.
We'd have enough room for one swag. Let's not get into that.
Exactly
Liam
right,
wants
mate.
to know, mate. Liam wants to know what the average fuel economy on the D-Max and the Dirty 30 is. Well, the D-Max is incredible.
Yep.
I don't think that thing likes diesel. I really don't because it doesn't drink it.
Yeah.
Depending on highway versus off-road.
What is your
between
fuel economy?
7 to 10 litres per 100, roughly, depending on what I'm doing between low
10
range.
litres.
Dude, it's ridiculous. It is ridiculous.
Oh,
You see me do the Simpson, I take a jerry can.
Yeah, that is ridiculous. I thought you had a long range tank in the thing. Mate, look, the Dirty 30 is a little bit different to that. I am going to say, though, it is the most fuel efficient vehicle I have with that FTE motor. I get, no joke, on the 35-inch tyres, I get about 13 to 14 litres to the 100, which is
I've seen you do
absolutely
that.
phenomenal. It's pretty good. It's pretty good.
Yep.
And the worst fuel economy I've had in a vehicle, out of all the vehicles I've got, not including Darrell, because that is about 45 litres to the 100. I reckon my 79 series is probably one of the worst. It was doing
What did you
about
get in that?
17 litres.
That's what I get. That's what I get in the GU behind me. I average about 16 to 17 in the GU, but it weighs close to 4 tonnes. It's got the aerodynamics of a
Yeah,
of a
my
brick.
79 wasn't light.
Toby's got a very good question here. He wants to know will there be a few episodes filmed in WA this year, mate? We've got our fingers crossed because we've got a couple of crackers planned for WA this year.
Absolutely.
So
Absolutely.
let's just hope that COVID keeps everything in line and we can pull those off. So, Toby, the answer to that question is a resounding yes, ...
Yep.
maybe.
I can't
Hey,
wait.
mate,
I
Tom.
can't wait.
Tom
Yep.
wants to know, new or old four-wheel drive, what's better in your personal experience? We've done this one, mate. We've been all over
We
it.
have. It's such a look. I can't even say old or new because there's so many variables, and it really suits different people. I think the best thing you could probably do, Tom, is if we put a link maybe in this episode right now, you can actually see for yourself. We go into detail on this topic, and it's one not to miss actually.
Now, here's a curly one, mate. Jaden would like to know,
Yep.
how can I change my life and do what you guys do? Now, look, what do you reckon, mate? What's the advice? What do you got for him?
Look, my advice is, Jaden, look, you can do all this stuff. Just go and do it. Work hard in your job, and on the weekends, have them to yourself, and just make sure you use your weekends properly. Use your time off properly. Use your holidays properly. You can do, in fact, you won't even have to film anything. You'll be able to go out there and live the absolute dream. That's what I reckon. If you're thinking, how do you get paid to do this for a job? Well, I still don't know, mate. I really don't know how I fell into this. What about you, Graham? Have you got any tips for Jaden?
I think I know. I mean, it's obvious that talent and good looks were on my side when I jumped into
when
this.
you're a male model like Graham,
Exactly.
I guess.
Well, yeah, I went, segued from the male modelling into this. It made it quite easy. I think you've nailed it, man. Everyone sort of sees, and I get it, what we do and wants to aim in that direction. But forget the filming side of it. Forget the social media side of it. Work hard at your chosen profession and get to a point where you're just doing it on the weekends, on your holidays. Maybe do something like, if you can do job sharing days where maybe you drop a day a week, do fly in, fly out where you've got 2 weeks off and you can go exploring. Live it. Just live and breathe it. Don't worry about what we do.
I think if you're thinking you need to make an Instagram profile or something like that, and then you're going to get noticed, you're going to get free stuff chucked to your four-wheel drive, it's definitely the wrong way about going about this. Just start doing the things you love. And if you've got an Instagram page, start putting that stuff, on your Instagram page. It is, mate. It is. Look, I think a lot of people care too much about making content because they think maybe for some reason they're going to get paid to do it. It's not about that. Don't even think about that. Just enjoy the lifestyle. The rest will sort of come.
And I think that just about brings us to the end of another Beers in the Shed because I'm getting dangerously low.
I'm getting dangerously empty here, so it's a good timing, really.
Now, long weekend coming up. I'm gonna do it. I'm gonna be the old bloke. I'm gonna say it. Please be safe out there, folks. It's a long weekend. You're all gonna head bush. You're all gonna have a couple of cans. You're gonna enjoy it, but look after one another. Do the right thing.
Exactly.
I've got to say it.
Exactly.
I've got to be that bloke.
Exactly, mate. And the good news for you guys as well, we've got a stack of really cool content coming up. We've been down to Yow on the south coast of New South Wales recently. We found a little gap when we could get through the borders, and we made the most of that, mate. Tough tracks down there. And,
some of us made the most of it. Some of us made a bit of a hash of it, mate. I know vehicles are supposed to have four wheels attached to all times. No, I just wanted to bring that up a bit. Vehicles are supposed to have four wheels attached at all times. Won't go into it too much. There was a
You
bit
have
of
to
a
check
break.
it out. It gets pretty wild. It gets pretty wild. I might
Nice
have broken something.
You did, mate. You did. I think that's me,
No.
mate. I'm gonna
Look.
finish this beer off.
We'll get another cola, mate. Thanks again, guys, for tuning in for another episode of Beers in the Shed. Graham, mate, I can't
one,
wait to catch
brother.
up with you, mate. We've got a couple of really epic trips planned really soon.
We're suffering a bit like you guys. You know, COVID's got us sort of waiting at the moment. We're making the most of it. Trying to get what we can get done. I was actually supposed to be with you right now, mate.
You
But
were. And
Yeah,
but it
orders.
won't be long, mate. We'll be filming together. There's a stack of stuff we filmed just recently that'll be coming out, like the South Coast one, the hour trip. There's also some stuff in mid-north coast of New South Wales, another epic tough one. I even have a brother along for that trip. And,
He drove so
we had
much better than you.
And we had Jocko. So
it
a fair
was a
bit
good
going
trip.
on that trip, mate. It was absolutely
Thoroughly
insane.
enjoyed
So keep your eyes peeled to the Full Drive 24/7 YouTube channel and keep remembering to use those hashtags as well.
Yep.
Full Drive 24/7 fails and rigs, because you can win a stack of prizes. We've got heaps more
Certainly
prizes
can.
to give away. For now, mate, I'll give myself another
I'll
Iron
say
Jack.
cheers.
What do you reckon?
Nice one, mate. And I will catch you hopefully in a couple of weeks, mate.
Sounds like a plan, mate. Cheers.
Rightio. Catch you then.